Hi, I'm Lisa Sarjays, author of Diary of a Fat Girl, and also the creator of the CD Relaxation with Lisa, and soon to be a streaming hypnosis piece that will help you fall asleep. I think I'm calling it Sleeping with Lisa because I think the double entendre is funny. So yeah, I've been crying. This has not been a good month. It's July 2020. So if you're watching this in the future, you can look back and be like, oh right, they were in the heart of the corona. Yeah, the heart of the corona, but also my dad passed away on July 11th. He was 90. It was sudden. It was not a corona death. He had a bladder infection and he went septic and he died of heart failure. So sudden, but merciful, peaceful. When I went to identify his body, he was smiling. Like, not just, but like with his teeth, like he recognized somebody who came to get him, kind of thing. So I've been pretty sensitive lately. And as you know, I love animals. So I was driving today and just doing errands, just doing my thing. And a little squirrel darted into the road. And I saw a car coming that was definitely going to hit him. So I beeped to alert the driver, but also to scare the squirrel, hopefully back up on the curb. And that's not what happened. He got confused. He ran back and forth confusedly. And I watched him actually get hit by the car. And I feel like it's my fault. And I stopped my car and I got out of the car screaming like you would have thought I struck and hurt a child. I didn't even hit the squirrel. It's just that I beeped, and I feel like my beeping made him dart in front of the killer car, screaming and wailing over this poor creature. It was dead, mercifully. Mercifully. Its little eye popped out. So, I scoop him up. Him, her, it. I don't know. I think all little animals are he's for some reason. Well, you're raised a certain way. It's a default that everything's male. That's how you think. And I scooped him up and, he was limp. He felt dead and, I brought him under a tree. But I'm screaming, right? I'm screaming and crying like a lunatic. And this is a residential area. So a man who lived there comes running out. What's the matter? And he runs over to me and I just explained, this little squirrel got hit by a car and the man was, patting and rubbing my back, trying to calm me down. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I know it's just an animal. He said, no, they're all God's creatures, I understand. It's okay. His wife ran into the house and got me water, a bottle of water. And he just stayed with me until he's like, come here, sit down. Is this your car? Sit, lean on your car. Just attending to me as I screamed and cried for this little creature that I was trying to save, and instead I kind of contributed to its demise. And his wife comes out and she's, he's like, do you know her? He's, no. She's like, oh honey, a lot of these little creatures, they run out into the road and they get hit. It's not your fault. You couldn't help it. And they were being so kind, and I explained that my parents, no, see, I keep doing that. My mother lives, up on the hill, and my father had just passed away. Sorry. And that's probably why I was extra sensitive. But I don't think that's true. I would have screamed any other way, any other day for a poor little creature. I just felt so bad. But the way these two strangers just stayed with me until I calmed down, and they brought me the water, and they were talking to me. And so it's interesting the way people are. We do have this impulse to take care of one another. I know the news wants to teach us something else. And yes, there is injustice and tragedy and cruelty and every other awful thing. But there's also human nature that just wants to reach out and help. And we see a person or a creature in distress, and we want to make it better. And I think it's a reflex. And there's plenty of people who have that reflex. And maybe they hold it back because we've been brainwashed by the media to believe that people are mostly bad. But I think given the right circumstances, given an emergency situation, we really want to help one another. Unless it's the beginning of a pandemic and we're fighting for toilet paper. But even then, there's still the helpers, Mr. Rogers always said, whenever you see a calamity, a tragedy, disaster, you look for the helpers because they show up. It's just human nature, I think. It's human nature to compete and fight, and survival instinct and survival of the fittest, but it's also human nature to cooperate and care and soothe. And by the time I was going to get back on the road, because he even said, you want to call somebody? Because I was hysterical. You have to understand, hysterical over this little creature that died probably in my arms. And I think he died instantly. He got hit hard in the head. Poor little guy. Poor little creature. And the man who came out, he's like, oh, do you have somebody you can call? I'm like, no, I'll calm down. I'll calm down. And as the conversation wore on, the wife ran in, she grabbed her mask. Actually, she grabbed her mask before she handed me the water. Then he started to, slowly back up away from me. He came and he's rubbing and patting my back, but then by the end of the conversation, he's backed off. And, we're back to being in fear mode. And I know there's some of you who will just say, well, he was being careful, but fear. It's going above and beyond here. With being afraid of one another, being afraid of each other. So once the emergency was over, we all went back to our roles. Just don't let anything or anyone fool you into believing that the only thing true about human nature is that we're competitive and brutish and evil. It's not true. There's so much good, and we just need those circumstances that create the opportunity to be good. In certain kind of emergencies will do that. Seeing somebody in need when we know we can help can do that. Being able to soothe and help and support whenever we can, I think most of us will. And in our heart of hearts, we want to. We want to be helpful, of service, to make a positive difference. The other things, I think those are ego instincts, survival of the fittest instincts, and I don't think that's predominantly what makes the human person. I think kindness and cooperation are part of us too. And I felt that today with those strangers who came out to soothe me when I was screaming. You have no idea. Screaming and wailing over that poor little squirrel. And then I said, but I eat meat, so I'm a hypocrite. It's true. I do. And I feed my cats meat. It doesn't make it any easier to see a creature go from vibrant and alive one moment and just gone the next. Their little life spirit is just gone the next. And I hope my father's passing really was peaceful. It seemed that way. And I really believe somebody came to get him. A relative or an angel came to get him. And why do these things get to us? For a number of reasons. I think part of it is a reminder that it could be us, and someday it will be us. On a long enough timeline, what did Tyler Durden say? On a long enough timeline, the survival rate for everyone is 0. And we feel like we cheat death every day. Or that death can be cheated every day. And maybe we are cheating death, or maybe, I don't know. God has a plan. But one of these days it'll be us, and I love life, so I don't want to give it up. And it hurts me to watch other creatures give it up. So as long as we have our empathy and our sympathy, and we act on those whenever we can, I think we'll be okay as a species. We'll see how things go. Like and subscribe, please.